Most people live their entire lives without ever realizing something important. They wake up every morning, they go to work, they pay bills, they repeat the same routine, and they believe this is normal. But normal does not always mean natural, and normal does not always mean free. This is where the idea of the Matrix begins. The Matrix is not a movie, it is not science fiction, it is not a conspiracy. The Matrix is a system of thinking. It is the invisible structure that shapes how you see the world, how you see money, how you see success, and how you see yourself. You were not asked if you wanted to be part of it, you were born into it. From the moment you were a child, the Matrix started teaching you rules. Go to school, listen to authority, follow instructions, do not question too much, do not fail, do not stand out. These rules were not presented as control, they were presented as safety. And that is why the Matrix works so well. In the movie The Matrix, there is a famous idea. Most people are not ready to be unplugged, and some people will fight to protect the system. That idea is uncomfortable, but it is true because the Matrix does not trap people with force. It traps them with comfort, comfortable routines, comfortable beliefs, comfortable limits. The Matrix tells you what is possible and what is impossible. It tells you this is realistic, this is risky, this is how life works. Over time, you stop questioning it, you start repeating it, and one day you realize something strange. You are busy all the time, but you are not moving forward. You are tired, but not fulfilled. You are surviving, but not truly living. That feeling is not weakness, it is awareness starting to wake up. The Matrix does not mean your life is fake. It means your choices may not be fully yours yet. The system trains people to trade their time for money forever. Time is the most valuable thing you have, but it is treated like it is unlimited. You are taught to sell your best hours, your best energy, and your best years just to stay alive. And when you ask for more time, the system says, "Be grateful you have a job." This is not said with hate, this is said calmly, because the Matrix does not need cruelty, it only needs obedience. The Matrix survives because people believe there is no alternative. They believe this is just how life is. This is adulthood. This is responsibility. But responsibility without freedom becomes a cage. Here is an important truth. The Matrix does not want you poor. It wants you dependent. Poor people rebel. Rich people escape. Dependent people stay quiet. So the system keeps most people in the middle. Enough money to survive, not enough freedom to leave, enough entertainment to forget, not enough silence to think. Screens everywhere, noise everywhere, distraction everywhere. Thinking deeply becomes rare. And when thinking becomes rare, control becomes easy. The Matrix is not controlled by one person or one group. It is maintained by habits, beliefs, and fear. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of being different, the fear of stepping outside what is familiar. Most people are not lazy. They are conditioned. Conditioned to believe that freedom is dangerous, conditioned to believe that safety is success, but safety without growth slowly kills the soul. The first step out of the Matrix is not quitting your job. It is not becoming rich. It is not rejecting society. The first step is seeing clearly, seeing that your thoughts were shaped, your beliefs were taught, your limits were installed, and anything that was installed can be questioned. Once you see this, something changes. You stop blaming yourself so much. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else. You stop running without direction. You begin to ask better questions. Why do I live this way? Why do I believe this is the only path? Why do I feel trapped, even when I do everything right? These questions are not dangerous. They are healthy. Awareness is not rebellion. It is responsibility, because once you see the Matrix, you have a choice. You can stay asleep. Modern slavery and money traps. When people hear the word slavery, they think of history. They think of chains, violence, and force. But modern slavery looks very different. It is quiet. It is legal, and most people accept it without question. Modern slavery is not about ownership of the body. It is about control of time. In the past, slaves were forced to work. Today, people are trained to work. They wake up early, rush through traffic, sit in offices or stand for long hours and repeat the same cycle for decades, not because they love it, but because they have no real alternative. This is how modern slavery works. You are free to choose your job, but you are not free to stop working. You are free to speak, but not free to leave the system. Freedom without options is not real freedom. The system teaches people that working all their life is normal. If you question it, you are called lazy. If you resist it, you are called irresponsible. This keeps people in line. Modern slavery is powered by expenses, rent, bills, food, insurance, subscriptions, debt. These expenses do not sleep, they come every month. So even if you are tired, even if you are unhappy, even if you feel empty, you must keep going. Not because someone is forcing you, but because life is expensive. This is the most effective form of control. The system does not need guards. It needs invoices. Most people are not owned by a boss, they are owned by their lifestyle, and the lifestyle was designed for them. From a young age, people are taught to consume, buy more, upgrade more, desire more. Advertising tells you, you deserve this, you earned this, everyone has this. So you buy things you don't need, with money you don't have, to impress people who don't care. This is not accidental. This is conditioning. Consumption keeps people distracted. Debt keeps people obedient. Debt is one of the strongest tools in the matrix. Debt creates fear. Fear of losing your job, fear of missing payments, fear of falling behind. A person in debt cannot think clearly. They are always rushing, always worried, always stressed. Stress makes people short-term thinkers, and short-term thinkers are easy to control. The Matrix teaches people that debt is normal. Student loans are normal, car loans are normal, credit cards are normal. Being debt-free is seen as strange, but normal does not mean healthy. Debt steals your future before it arrives. You are working today for money you already spent yesterday. That is not progress. That is a loop. Another powerful trap in the Matrix is trading time for money forever. Hourly pay sounds fair. You give 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour, but time is limited. You only have 24 hours in a day. You only have so many years of energy, so your income is capped by your lifespan. This keeps people running but never escaping. If you stop working, the money stops. That is not freedom. That is dependence. The Matrix prefers people who depend on their next paycheck, because dependent people don't take risks. They don't ask questions. They don't challenge the system. They stay safe, and safety is the cage. Another money trap is the idea of one path. The Matrix tells you choose one career. Stick to it. Don't change. Be realistic. But the world is changing faster than ever. Jobs disappear. Skills become outdated. Industries collapse. Yet people are still taught to rely on one source of income. This is dangerous. Depending on one income stream is like standing on one leg in a storm. The Matrix benefits from this risk. You carry the risk. The system stays protected. Modern slavery is not about suffering all the time. It is about never having enough control over your time, enough control over your choices, enough control over your future. Many people feel this, but cannot explain it. They say, I feel stuck. I feel tired. I feel like life is passing me by. These feelings are not random. They are signals. Signals that something is wrong with the structure, not with you. The Matrix wants you to believe the problem is personal, that you are not smart enough, not motivated enough, not disciplined enough. But millions of people feel the same way. That tells you something. This is not individual failure. This is systemic design. Another trap is constant distraction. People are exhausted, but not from thinking. They are exhausted from noise, social media, news, entertainment, drama. Distraction keeps people emotionally busy and mentally empty. When your mind is always occupied, you don't reflect, and when you don't reflect, you don't change. The Matrix feeds people information, but not wisdom. Information tells you what happened. Wisdom helps you decide what to do. Most people are informed, very few are aware. Awareness is dangerous to the Matrix because an aware person starts asking questions like, why do I need so much? Why do I need so much to survive? Why do I spend my best years working just to rest when I'm old? Why does freedom feel so far away? These questions don't make you weak, they make you awake. The Matrix is strongest when people are tired. Tired people don't plan, they don't dream, they don't build, they just survive. And survival mode feels normal when everyone else is also surviving. That is how modern slavery hides. It hides inside routines, it hides inside habits, it hides inside beliefs passed from generation to generation. Parents tell children, get a good job so you don't suffer like me. They mean well, but fear is passed down, not freedom. The system continues because good people repeat what they were taught. The Matrix does not need villains, it needs tradition. Here is a hard truth. The Matrix does not care if you are happy. It cares if you are functional, as long as you show up, as long as you pay, as long as you consume. You are a perfect participant, but you are not meant to live only to function. You are meant to grow, to choose, to create. Modern slavery ends when people stop accepting unconscious living. Not all at once, not dramatically, but slowly, calmly, intentionally. The first step is understanding the traps, because once you see the traps, they lose power. And once they lose power, you gain options. This is where the real work begins. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will talk about how the Matrix controls thinking, not just money, how beliefs are installed, how fear is trained, and how people learn to limit themselves without realizing it. This is where awareness turns into responsibility, and responsibility turns into freedom. How the system controls the mind. The strongest form of control is not physical, it is mental. If you can control how a person thinks, you never need to control what they do. This is the deepest level of the Matrix. The Matrix does not begin with money. It begins with beliefs. Beliefs about who you are, beliefs about what is possible, beliefs about what is normal. Most of these beliefs were not chosen by you. They were taught to you. From childhood, your mind was shaped by authority, parents, teachers, institutions, society. Again, not because they were evil, but because they were also inside the Matrix. They passed on what they knew, and what they knew was limitation. You were praised for obedience, punished for mistakes, rewarded for conformity. This trains the brain early. It teaches you that approval is safety and rejection is danger, so you learn to avoid risk. You learn to stay inside lines. You learn to ask for permission. Over time, this becomes automatic. You stop asking why. You start asking, how do I fit in? This is how the Matrix installs self-censorship. People don't need to be silenced. They silence themselves. They don't say what they think. They don't try what they imagine. They don't pursue what they want, not because someone stopped them, but because fear stops them. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of looking foolish. Fear is the Matrix's greatest tool. Fear keeps people small. The Matrix teaches people to associate failure with shame, but failure is not shameful. It is educational. Every skill, every success, every breakthrough requires failure. But the system hides this truth. It celebrates success without showing the struggle. So people compare their beginning to someone else's result, and then they quit. The Matrix also trains people to think in labels: smart, average, talented, untalented. These labels become mental cages. If you believe you are not good with money, you will never learn about money. If you believe you are not creative, you will never create. If you believe success is for other people, you will never pursue it. Beliefs create behavior, and behavior creates results. This is why the Matrix focuses on beliefs first. Another powerful form of control is time pressure. People are always rushing, deadlines, bills, responsibilities. When people are rushed, they don't reflect. Reflection requires stillness. Stillness is dangerous to the Matrix because in silence, questions arise. Why am I doing this? Why am I unhappy? Why do I feel empty even when I'm busy? The Matrix fills silence with noise. Phones, notifications, entertainment. Constant stimulation keeps the mind reactive. Reactive people respond, they don't create. The Matrix also controls thinking by promoting extremes. Either you are successful or you are a failure. Either you are rich or poor. Either you win or you lose. But real growth happens in the middle, in learning, in experimenting, in adjusting. Extremes discourage beginners. They make people think, if I can't be great, why try? This benefits the system because people who never try never change anything. Another deep layer of control is identity. The Matrix encourages people to attach their identity to their job. I am a cashier. I am an employee. I am just a worker. When your identity is tied to a role, you defend the role, even if it hurts you. If someone questions the system, it feels personal. So people protect what they know. This is why some people fight against ideas that could free them, not because they are wrong, but because change threatens identity. The Matrix also uses comparison as control. Social media shows highlights, perfect lives, perfect bodies, perfect success. People compare their reality to edited moments. This creates insecurity. Insecure people seek validation. Validation makes people dependent. Dependent people are easy to guide. Comparison steals focus, and focus is power. When your focus is on others, you lose control of your direction. The Matrix thrives when people doubt themselves. Self-doubt keeps people waiting to be ready, waiting to be confident, waiting to be approved. But readiness comes from action, not waiting. Confidence comes from experience, not perfection. The Matrix tells people they need permission. Permission from society, permission from family, permission from experts. But permission is rarely given, so most people never move. They wait their whole lives. Another form of mind control is teaching people to confuse busyness with progress. If you are busy, you feel productive. But busy does not mean effective. You can run in circles very fast and still go nowhere. The Matrix loves busy people. Busy people don't ask questions. They are too tired. Tired people accept more easily. Exhaustion lowers resistance. This is why rest is powerful. Rest allows thinking. Thinking allows clarity. Clarity allows change. The Matrix discourages deep thinking. It encourages quick opinions, fast reactions, short attention spans. Depth disappears, and without depth, wisdom disappears. Here is an important truth. The Matrix is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. It produces workers, consumers, and followers. But it does not produce free thinkers by default. Free thinking must be learned, and learned slowly. You cannot break free from the Matrix emotionally. You must outgrow it mentally. Anger does not free you. Understanding does. Hate does not free you. Clarity does. The moment you see how beliefs were installed, you gain power. Because anything learned can be unlearned. Anything programmed can be reprogrammed. But this requires responsibility. Once you see the Matrix, you can no longer blame it completely. Awareness brings choice, and choice brings accountability. In the next part, we will talk about the most important question of all. What do you do after you see the Matrix? How do you think independently? How do you live differently without becoming lost or extreme? How do you build freedom step by step? This is where awareness becomes action. This is where the Matrix starts to lose its grip. Independent thinking, practical steps, and a quiet exit. Seeing the Matrix is not the end. It is the beginning. Many people reach awareness and stop there. They learn the system is flawed. They learn they were conditioned. They learn life could be different. And then they become angry. Anger feels powerful, but it is a trap. Anger keeps you emotionally tied to the same system you want to escape. True freedom is calm. Independent thinking does not mean rejecting everything. It means choosing consciously. It means you stop living on automatic. The matrix loses power when you stop reacting and start deciding. Independent thinking begins with responsibility. Not responsibility in the way the system defines it, but responsibility for your own mind, your thoughts, your habits, your direction. The first practical step is learning to question without fear. When you hear a rule, ask yourself, who benefits from this? Is this always true? Does this apply to me? Not every rule is wrong, but not every rule is meant for you. Independent thinkers don't reject information. They evaluate it. They listen, observe, and decide. The second step is learning how money really works. Money is not evil. Money is not good. Money is a tool. The Matrix teaches people to chase money without understanding it. Independent thinking teaches you to study money. You learn the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. Most people are taught only how to earn money, not how to make money work. Earning is active, working. Freedom comes from leverage, systems, skills, assets. This does not mean quitting your job tomorrow. It means using your job as a tool, not an identity. A job can fund learning, a job can fund experiments, a job can fund freedom, but only if you don't let it consume your entire life. The third step is discipline, not motivation. Motivation comes and goes, discipline stays. The Matrix thrives on emotional cycles, excitement, burnout, disappointment, repeat. Discipline breaks this cycle. Discipline is choosing what matters even when you don't feel like it. Small actions done consistently change everything. Reading instead of scrolling, learning instead of complaining, building instead of escaping. You don't need massive change, you need steady direction. The fourth step is long-term thinking. The Matrix trains short-term thinking. Instant results, quick pleasure, fast rewards, but freedom is slow, it compounds. One skill learned today can change your income in 5 years. One habit built now can change your life in 10. Independent thinkers think in decades, not days. They ask, where will this decision take me long term? They sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term control. The fifth step is simplifying life. The Matrix loves complexity. More expenses, more commitments, more noise. Simplicity creates space. Space to think, space to plan, space to breathe. When you need less, you fear less. When you fear less, you choose better. Minimalism is not about owning nothing. It is about owning only what serves you. The sixth step is protecting your attention. Attention is your most valuable resource. Whatever has your attention shapes your future. The Matrix fights for attention aggressively. News, drama, trends, outrage. Independent thinkers guard their attention carefully. They choose what they consume. They choose who they listen to. They choose what they ignore. Not everything deserves your energy. The seventh step is patience. This is where most people fail. They wake up to the Matrix and want instant freedom. But freedom is built, not taken. You don't escape the Matrix in one move. You slowly reduce dependence. You build skills. You create options. You develop leverage. Each step increases control. Each year adds distance. There is no single moment of escape. There is a gradual shift. One day you realize you have choices. You can say no. You can slow down. You can redirect. That is real freedom. Here is something important to understand. The goal is not to hate the Matrix. The goal is to use it without being owned by it. You can live in society without being controlled by it. You can participate without losing yourself. This is balance. Independent thinkers are not loud, they are calm. They don't need to convince everyone. They focus on their own growth. They let results speak. The matrix feeds on unconscious living. It weakens when people become intentional. Intentional with time, intentional with money, intentional with thought. You don't need to be special. You don't need permission. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself quietly, am I living by choice or by default? Am I building something or just maintaining? Am I thinking or just reacting? These questions change lives, and they don't need to be answered all at once. Growth is not loud. Freedom is quiet. It shows up in mornings without panic, in decisions without fear, in days that feel aligned. The matrix does not collapse when one person wakes up, but one person waking up changes one life, and that matters. If you are listening to this and something inside you feels calm instead of angry, clear instead of confused, that is awareness. That is the beginning. You don't need to escape the world. You need to stop living unconsciously inside it. Think clearly, move slowly, build patiently. Freedom is not a destination, it is a direction. And once you choose it, every step forward matters. If you've made it this far, you're not like most people. You're not here just to survive. You're here to understand. The matrix is not broken. It's working exactly as designed. The question is simple. Will you stay plugged in, or will you build your exit? Subscribe to this channel if you want to learn how to create skills, systems, and income that work for you while you sleep. This is not motivation. This is preparation. One day, you'll look back at this moment and realize, this is where everything changed.